Welcome, everyone, to Women Wednesday. So happy to be here today, and we're so happy that you're joining us. If you're joining in for this Women Wednesdays, please make sure you share your comments and questions with us in the comments section. That way we can get those comments and questions to our lovely panelists today. You may be thinking something looks a little different today. Our founder, Barbara Westcott, she is going through a procedure today at the hospital, so she was unable to join us, but rest assured you're all in good hands with all of us. So thank you so much for joining us. One other quick thing is if you want to share this post and tag a friend so that they know we're live on Women Wednesdays every Wednesday at 1:00, go ahead and do that. We would love to have them join us. Well, without further ado, we've got a great topic today. It's having a heart for single mothers. And so we're super excited to have all of our ladies, our guests here today. Carly will be joining us a little bit later, but we'll go ahead and have everyone introduce themselves. So I'm Chrissy Souders. I'm the owner of Kitschy Wearable Art. We just opened our new Kitschy Mobile at the Railroad Square Art District, and I'm also a volunteer for Women Wednesdays. I'll send it to you, Tamara.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Tamara Smith. I'm happy to be here. I'm also a host here on Women Wednesdays, and I'm also the regional director of the Panhandle for an awesome nonprofit organization called One More Child. We are historically Florida Baptist Children's Homes and One More Child, and you can find out more about what we do at onemorechild.org to support children and families who are struggling and in need in the areas of foster care, child hunger, family support, anti-trafficking, and one of our, some of my favorite residents to talk to are our single mothers that are a part of our Single Moms program. If you want to find out more about that program, again, it's onemorechild.org. We provide support in development, financial help, residency as well. So we have a residential program for our single moms as well, and much, much more. We actually just had one of our graduating single moms put her down payment on her first home, and we're so excited for her. Stories like that just it could literally bring me to tears right now. So again, onemorechild.org to find out more about what we do. But we're not here just to talk about One More Child. We're here to talk about having a heart for single mothers. I'm really excited about this conversation today. And we are going to talk a little bit about what we have going on with Women Wednesdays, just in case this is your first time joining us for Women Wednesdays. We're going to start with our guest host for today, Ellie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Ellie Rosario. I am the business manager at Jackson Properties. And as you have up there on the screen, I am an author as well that I just released my first book on February 12th. And actually, I did it the same day that I had my first talk at Women Wednesday last year, pre-COVID. So it was kind of a way to memorialize, that day for me. I am a single mother of three. I've got three kids, like I said, 25, 11, and 13. And I am actually very eager, and I can't wait to get this conversation going and started because there's so much to be said today.
Absolutely. When I told others about the topic for today, they were so intrigued because this is not a conversation that is happening everywhere. It's not one of the trendier ones. It's not one of the buzzwords that we're hearing right now, but talking about this topic is going to be so awesome for today. So let's just do a little housekeeping before we get started, because some of you may be joining us for the first time and wondering, what is Women Wednesdays? So as you can see right here, increasing opportunity for women in spaces and places. We want you to become a part of the Women Wednesdays community. Not only will that help in continuing this great work that we all want to see continue, but you'll join a community of strong, powerful women who are innovators, entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, enthusiasts, and much, much more. So join our community today, and also join our Facebook group. our groupies group. Yes, that's what it's called. And you have to go and find it to find out more.
Absolutely. And you can find all that information on our website as well, too. Well, we also have a new internship coordinator. Super excited to have Yvetta Lambert with us. And so what is an internship? Well, that means we don't think that as women in our community that you should just limit yourself to one subject matter, so to speak. And so if you're interested in learning about other types of opportunities out there and in an internship, make sure you reach out to our new coordinator, Yvette Lambert. And here's some internship opportunities as well, too, on your screen. And also right now, we are looking for a volunteer for a program coordinator. And these are for both of our Going Places and Co-walking coordinators. So if you're interested in joining as a volunteer for the Women Wednesdays team, we'd love to have you.
So as you can see, we had our first co-walking event. It went really well. Look for more posts about that on our page. And the next one is coming up on April 13th at 10 a.m. And if you're here in Tallahassee, at Cascades Park, at the amphitheater. So make sure you meet there. You get the weather here is beautiful right now. If you're in a snowy place, we are sorry, but it is beautiful here right now, as long as you take your allergy medicine, because pollen is among us as well.
It's great networking. And obviously, we're all trying to be safe during this pandemic. So it's outside. Everyone is socially distanced. And so, yes, please join us for that. And then our next slide, we have a great sponsor that we want to highlight today. Our champion sponsor, Ime Hutt. She is the president of Golden Lighting. Ime, we are so happy to have you as one of our champion sponsors. Super excited to have you join us. One great thing about Golden Lighting, and you can see Ime, she is the CEO. So she runs the show. So if you ever need any of her expertise, please make sure that you reach out to her because she is supporting our organization and we are so entirely grateful for that. And you can become a sponsor at Women Wednesdays. We have different levels here, as you can see. Ime Hutt, she's a champion level, so she's the highest level. But we also have hero, friend, and ally. And so if you're interested, make sure you join us and get in touch with us on our website, www.womenwednesdays.com. Did I get through the whole slide deck here? I believe so.
I think we did. I hope Barbara thinks we did her justice, as she usually goes through these very quickly. But we want you to get to know us, Women Wednesdays. We're trying to make this the #1 city for women, and we have some women who are doing just that and helping that effort here today with our topic, having a heart for single mothers. I will allow those panelists to introduce themselves. We were already chatting before this began. And we'll start with Courtney. You're going to love them as much as we do. Courtney, go ahead and get started for us.
Thank you, Tamara and Chrissy and Ellie. I'm really excited to be on the show today. I've been able to watch it from afar, but to be a guest is incredible. Before I get started, I just want to well wishes to Barbara Westcott. I know things are going to go great today, and we're thinking about her. I'm Courtney Atkins. I'm the executive director of two organizations, two nonprofits, one called Whole Child Leon, where we focus on issues of young children and their parents, families, making sure that children get what they need early when all that brain development is happening, so that they can enter school ready to learn and succeed in life and thrive. And then I'm also the executive director of the South City Foundation, which is a nonprofit that's part of the Purpose-Built Communities. And really our work is around breaking cycles of intergenerational poverty, kind of one neighborhood at a time. And we are working in the South City neighborhood on the south side of town. And I am the single mom of two children. I have a daughter who is 18 and going to college next year, a senior at Leon High School, and then a son, Atticus, who is a sophomore at Leon. And I am excited to be here with my friend and fellow single mom, Keisha Jenkins, super powerhouse mom. So Keisha, introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Keisha Jenkins. I'm the CEO of Brain Building Consulting, which is a educational consulting, which I focus primarily on early childhood educators and providers. I am an early childhood educator advocate. I've been one since I was 15 years old. I've worked in that world for years, and I love it so dearly. I am also a single mom of 4 children. I have a 14-year-old, 13-year-old, 10-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And I'm so excited to be here with you ladies today.
Well, absolutely. I just want to go on record and say I don't have any kids. And I think that all moms, all parents, especially single mothers, are superheroes in their own right. And so we are certainly excited that you guys are here to share your journey and your story with us. And I also just want to mention that Carly, she is not with us right now, but hopefully she'll be able to join us throughout today's broadcast. So let's start with you, Keisha. Tell us a little bit about your journey as a single mother.
I think the best way to look at this is I became a mother at 21 years of age. I actually was married. But ironically, I was a single mother even though I was married. So my daughter's 14. This has been a 14-year journey of being a single parent. And I've been in a marriage as a single parent, divorced as a single parent, and now I'm here as a single parent.
I know we'll have to. I know we're going to have to revisit that statement because that was an impactful one. That's going to keep turning over in my mind. But everybody, hold on. I want you to ask your questions in the comments. We want you to keep the conversation going. These ladies are hoping for your questions today. So make sure you're sharing this and you let your friends know. Tune in, because just starting there, I think is going to be something to talk about later.
So with your kids, you know, obviously starting off this journey as a young parent, nonetheless, as well too. What kind of situations do you find yourself in to balance being a single parent? I mean, you actually knew what it was like to be not a single parent. So what's kind of the balancing act and the difference between the two for you?
The only difference that I would say right now would be the financial difference. Being married, it's 2 incomes. Being, divorced, there's only one. Other than that, I was everything to my children as I am now. I did everything. I woke up. I will say, having my children young, because I do have a 2-year-old, so I can look at both sides of this in my 20s and my 30s. Having my children young, they grew with me. I was a lot more vibrant, able to move and do a lot of things with them, but I did put my education on hold. So it's kind of a give and take. Now that I'm in my 30s, my 2-year-old is spoiled rotten. I think she gets more screen time than any child she ever get. She has more toys than a little bit. Definitely a different lifestyle from the older 3. But at the same time, I wouldn't change it for the world. I enjoy my life. I know that my life is a message and a mission to other moms. I've accepted that. And now in this role as an advocate, I just want other moms to know they're not alone.
And Courtney, do you share kind of the same journey starting off as Keisha did there? If you can explain a little bit about your journey.
Sure. I think my journey was very, very different. So I didn't get married till I was 38, but prior to being married, I owned 2 businesses. I was in the restaurant business and very, very busy being an entrepreneur. And so put the marriage on, getting married on hold. So I didn't have my first child till I was 39. So I was an older parent, which I think there are lots of benefits to that and maybe not so many as well. It's kind of a mixed bag. But so my journey was different. And I didn't become a single parent until my children were 4 and 5. And their father is unfortunately out of the picture totally with mental health issues and different things. And so I have really totally been on my own. But I certainly have the support of my tribe, which is my family and friends, and it really does, it is a tribe. But when Keisha talks about being married but feeling like a single parent early on, I mean, I do think that's what I'm really excited about this conversation, because I think there are people that are married that do feel like they are a single parent handling all the responsibilities on their own. I think they're just we come in all shapes and sizes. So I'm excited to explore the conversations more.
That leads me to my next question. So often we hear of these inaccurate stereotypes of single mothers. Let's kind of dive into that a little bit, because clearly you both have very different stories. You're both advocates in your own right and raising your children. So let's dive into that a little bit, as far as what kind of stereotypes do you see that surround single mothers? And whoever wants to chime in as well.
I'll start because when I was talking to Barbara earlier on about being on the show, this is really how I started the conversation. In my work with Whole Child Leon and the South City Foundation, I work with a lot of low-income moms. And there are a lot of, I think there's 66% of the moms in the South City neighborhood are single moms with children. And there's, I believe, a stereotype of, these moms are welfare moms and they're having kids and they're not responsible for their, and I have found a different story. I have worked with moms who have brought 2 children to my office to try to enroll in health insurance in the rain, changing buses twice, just that kind of pushing for the help to get the support they need for their children, putting their children first, working 2 and 3 jobs, waiting in lines and trying to find transportation. I have just so much respect for the moms that are struggling with just everyday needs and also parenting and putting their children first. So I think there's a myth out there, a stereotype that needs to be dispelled here and now.
And Ellie, you're our guest host today, but you're also a single mother as well, too. Do you find yourself confronting those types of stereotypes as well?
There's so many thoughts going through my head right now, and I am taking notes as you guys talk, because I can relate.
You sound like Tamara. She takes notes all the time.
I'm a writer, right? So it's interesting because I can relate to both of them, and at the same time, the stereotypes. I became a mom when I was 17, I think, actually. Now I can't even remember, but so being a 16, 17-year-old mom, what is the first stereotype you're going to get? You're not going to go anywhere. She just got pregnant. She's can I even say this word on live? When they think you're sleeping around. So that in and of itself shatters your world. And then I said, no, I'm going to college and I'm doing all these things. So all the stereotypes that were out there, I didn't fit them. And I kept going. And then Keisha mentioned something that it warmed my heart, because you said you grew with your children. My ages, again, 25, 13, and 11. My 25-year-old and I grew together. I mean, it was so different. But at the same time, she had nothing. My kids now have more in terms of material things, and my oldest gets mad. Well, I didn't have that when I was, her age. So it just goes on and on. But I mean, it's definitely challenging. And, Tamara, you mentioned you help people, get graduated and all this stuff. I mean, I am the perfect example that anyone that gets pregnant as a high schooler can graduate. I have an MBA, so it's just a matter of pushing forward and keep going. But I think I'm rambling. So take it on.
No, you're not rambling at all. As a matter of fact, in the comments, you will see that the women in the comments are cheering you on. They're saying, yes, that's so true. They're cheering all of you on, saying, like, people are just uneducated about it's something about a label that is placed on you just because of the circumstances of your life. And from there, it feels like there isn't much yet you can do about what that person thinks about you after you get that label. Instead of just being a mother with her family, single mother, that changes the whole context of how people may think about you as a person. Can you speak a little bit to that experience? Because I know part of the reason why we're having this conversation today is because you want to dispel some of those myths.
I would say overcompensation. Because you have those myths and those theories about you, you go hard. You push harder than anybody else. You're doing things, you're juggling all of these things because you want to prove to the world that I can do this. And sometimes as single moms, we work until we can't work anymore. There are plenty of nights where I'm sleeping on my laptop or on the couch because my body has said enough is enough. And for any single mom that's out there that's doing that, one, you're a rock star. Two, keep going. But three, do it for yourself. Within the last 6 months, I will finish my bachelor's degree this May, and I just got accepted to FSU. I realized that I'm not doing this for anybody else but my 4 kids and myself. This isn't for anybody else but me and my children. And when I got that type of feeling about me, the world cannot stop me anymore. And I just want every single mom to know those labels are there. Let the world believe what they want to believe. You do what's best for you and what makes you happy.
Well,
I agree. I think that, oh, go ahead, Ellie. Go ahead, Ellie.
I could add, this ties back in with what Courtney was saying of breaking cycles,
Yeah.
So the stereotype is such, so then you go back and say, no, this is not going to be my life, whatever they think it's going to end up as. And you start breaking cycles, and then you show your children how you can do it. So then you are modeling the behavior that you want them to do as they grow up.
I agree, and I think that sometimes you get a pass as a single mom. Oh, she might be late, or that's because of this. And so I think we overcompensate, to Keisha's point, to make sure that we can handle this. We've got this. We don't need those passes. And I think I saw a comment about children of single parents, and sometimes that's hard for them. And I agree with that. I think it's been difficult, especially with younger children. And maybe I shouldn't even say that. I just know that I've had a lot of long conversations with my children over the years when there's Daddy and Donut Day or all of these activities. And it's really important to try to have a role model in their life that can maybe fill that gap. And I think we've been able to do that. But I also think that showing my kids that as an individual, I've got this, and you can too, and we can do this. And so, yeah, it's a mixed bag. But I do think that we have to make sure that we aren't overcompensating too much, and we're, sometimes keeping our eyes on the prize. Sometimes I work all the time and think, well, I'm doing this for my kids, and I'm working too much. I'm not spending that quality time with them. So making sure I'm really intentional about that.
Also, Courtney, to your point, children are resilient. We have some resilient kiddos. They're going to go out in the world with different problem solving skills that some other children may not have. And that in itself is how I look at it. I look at it like my 14-year-old has already announced she wants no children, sadly. But if she decides to have kids, she'll probably make the best mother because she's had experience times 3. So, just keeping in mind those type of things, that our children, no matter if you're single or married, your children are watching you. They see you. And that is what should be our driving force. None of these stereotypes and labels, none of that. Our driving force is to make sure that we raise, and I always call them tiny humans, but we raise our tiny humans to go on to be productive and successful adults. That is the goal. In whatever realm they decide to do, if they decide to go be a garbage man, you be the best garbage man you can be. If they decide that they want to be the next president, go do that as well. But just making sure we're putting good into the world.
I want to share some comments here by our viewers that are watching. We'll have Ellie on in just a minute. She's logging and I see her. We have Lanisha who says, yes, break the cycle or the change, show them a difference,
Yes,
which is
ma'am.
huge, which is major. Also, I want to, and this leads me into my next question here. Joy Berger, who's joining us, she wants to say thank you for all of us bringing this conversation to the public. She says we all need to be more aware of these stereotypes. So how do we combat them when you hear these things? And let's talk about that a little bit. What are some ways that we can combat these stereotypes and show people that, you know, it's not real?
A great way is a show
Well,
like this.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
highlighting
and
Ellie, a single mom who has an MBA and wrote a book, and
Yeah.
Keisha, who is getting ready to graduate with 4 kids. Yeah, I mean, this is a great start.
I agree. And I think also having places, and we do have one locally, where moms can get together and talk and commune within each other. The only way we're going to combat any type of stereotypes is just to show the world that there's more out there. That's with anything that's going on in the world. It's just to show the world that there's more. I was working with preschools for years, and I've met some outstanding moms. You know, I went into preschools with, oh, dads are not involved in their kids' lives. I've seen some amazing dads, you know, and so it's just things that you have to, I guess, experience, exposure. Like I say, when I'm teaching children, experiencing exposure is one of the greatest lessons. And so I would say in this same instant, that's the same type of way I would look at it.
And
so can
Ellie,
I ask?
you want?
Before everyone could hear us and see us, Courtney mentioned that there's a lot of perks also of being a single mom. And I kind of want to hear what her thoughts are on some of those perks. Because we're fighting, we're battling, you know, we're doing all this, we're modeling behavior, but tell the world also what are the good things about being a single mom? Because I know the 3 of us got something to say about that.
Yeah, I do feel that way, and don't misunderstand. There are times, especially when my children were younger, where I felt sorry for myself because they're with me 24/7 and my friends are going to go do this and I couldn't go. But I also see my friends who are in, divorce with custody differences, and every other Christmas they don't have their children, and I don't have that at all. They're with me all the time, and they're my life and my heart. And so I love that I don't have to deal with that. So that is definitely a perk. But I guess after we talk perks, we can talk some of the challenges as well. So that's my greatest perk, that they are with me all the time.
To piggyback off what Courtney said, I'm split. I have 3 children that do have visitation, and I do the every other, and it is extremely mentally exhausting. And then I have 1 child who I hate to say is all mine, but that's how I look at it. She is mine. But the perk for me is waking up Saturday mornings to a bed full of kids. They're there. They're always there. I have hugs. I have unconditional I love yous. I have, to me, like Courtney said, they're my world. It is so, even when I'm their Uber driver, shuffling them from sports, it's my joy is always being able to be that mom. I am the dance mom, the gymnastics mom, the football mom, and being able to be that light for the other children too. I did not attend a dance competition, and all the kids were like, "You're not coming." So, it's just being able to be a strong force, not just for my children, but for all their friends as well.
I would add to that, and I'm tying it in with some of what Courtney said. It is easier to be a single mom than it is to drag someone else along the way.
Yes,
so when you're dragging someone else, when someone else is not adding any type of value to the raising of the kids, and where, I hear, unfortunately, a lot of women talk about, I'm just raising another child. It is very easy to be a single mom because we're a team, right? I mean, it's like, okay, guys, this is the plan. This is the game plan. This is what we're going to do today. Let's go tackle it. So, and I agree with you as well in terms of the cuddles. I'm all about the cuddles. My kids and and I, cuddle time.
Yes, ma'am.
I've heard that from friends as well. The cuddles are just different uh because especially, and I won't, it's a stereotype, but the boys love there's something, one of my good friends, she was a single mother, and her son is my godson. And I used to, when he spent summers with us, she's married now, but when they spent summers he spent summers with us, I said to her, he is so cuddly, he's just so loving, he doted on me. And that was before I had children of my own. I said he might ruin me for the children that I'm going to have, because their relationship, I always thought it was something so special. And on those really tough days where she was calling me, and I never pretended to understand, I just tried to be there and listen. I would say to her, but there's just something really special about your relationship with your son. And it reminds me of a comment. We have one of the comments here, that says, no competition. Motherhood is a unique experience for everyone. No experience is the same. So where my experience with motherhood is, I am married, and my husband has been an absolute superhero, because we've had struggles in infertility. I have endometriosis, and then when we started having the babies, I have a hyperemesis. So, he's been there through all of these challenges, and I remember sometimes sitting and thinking, like, I just, once you have the child, there's something that happens to you as a mother. So what are some of the things that you as mothers that you would love to say to people, look, here's where our experiences line up? Some of those ways that those of us who have the opportunity to say, how can we talk about you? And I'm sorry if I'm rambling a little bit, but how can we talk about you as single mothers in a way that's supportive? So even when you're not in the room, we are making connections to your experiences and not what people may think makes you so different. Some of those stereotypes, how can we help dispel them when we're not in the same position as single mothers?
I'll start by saying I think one way we can dispel them is talk to us about it, ask questions, don't assume, because we all are in very different circumstances, but we do share a lot in common. I think that's the best way to start. I think sometimes they tend to kind of shy away from asking, what's challenging, or how's it going, or so I think starting by asking questions and having real conversations.
I would have to piggyback off what Courtney said. Don't make assumptions. Ask us. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I don't know how you do all of that." I do it. It's ask me more detailed questions, and I can tell you about my tribe and my supportive family, and I can tell you, how a friend and I balance picking the kids up from school and making dinners for each other, and things that we do so that way we're both able to cope and move forward with what we have going on.
I think I'm just going to let it sit there, because the girls are just absolutely right on that. I mean, ask the question, have the conversation, which is hard, because a lot of people, what if I offend her? What if, if I say something wrong? You won't. When you're coming at to someone with a genuine and real way of really like learning, no one's going to take it in the bad way. So have those conversations.
And we do have Carly with us now, so I want to go ahead and bring her on. So let's welcome Carly.
Hey, Carly.
Hello.
I'm handling it well. How are you? Sorry for being late.
We totally understand.
Oh, wow.
But I do want to go ahead and give a brief introduction. If you could introduce yourself to anyone who doesn't know you or lives under a rock.
You're sweet. Well, I am Carly Sinadre. I'm the executive director of the Sharing Tree. I'm currently teaching art, which I just got out of a class with kindergarten at Cornerstone Learning Community. And I just got a really cool gig at Railroad Square as the director of ACERS, which I'm stoked about. And I love everything nature in North Florida. And I love my people here. So that's me in a nutshell. And I am the mom of a beautiful boy, and he is 8 years old, and last year he was diagnosed with a rare brain condition, and so we've been on and that happened like on the onset of a pandemic, so I have been through some stuff in the past year, but as we all are resilient and wonderful warrior women, we continue to survive and thrive.
So it's interesting here because there's a lot of dynamics involved in being a mother. We've got Courtney, who became a mother at an older age. I guess you can say it's not that old. I'm only like 5 years difference from at that time. So, and I haven't had kids yet. And then
the doctor will tell you advanced maternal age.
But it's interesting, Carly, you bring up an interesting cog in the wheel, having a child that is undergoing health condition trying to be able to be supportive in that measure and doing it as a single mother. Can you share with us some of the challenges that you have faced with being a single mother and also some of the perks that have been involved in being a single mother?
I think the perk is you come out a badass, and you can handle things that you never thought you could. And with his health condition last year, it happened right after Christmas Eve. And he got sick, and he started to have this little eye twitch. And one night on our living room floor, he had a full-blown seizure. And so that was a whirlwind, and we spun into children's hospitals all over the state of Florida. We almost went to Mayo in Minnesota, where I'm from. And it was really hard to get a diagnosis. And that is a whole other thing, a whole nother Women Wednesday or other topic that like you trust your doctors and healthcare, and you really have to fight, right? You have to fight. And so you've already been fighting as a single mom, but now you're in a whole other arena. And so I really had to fight for his diagnosis. And once he got it, he got treatment, and he has been doing a lot better. So, I've been a single mom now for 6 years. So since he was 2, so I'm pretty good at it. His dad isn't in the picture too much. And I think you just get really good at making decisions on the spot. And sometimes, you feel guilty for the things that, I'm sorry, you always feel guilty for one reason or another. Just like this bag of guilt they don't tell you when you become a mom. And I think that's for anyone. I think that's the whole gamut anyways, if you're a single mom or not. But learning to navigate being a single mom while you're a professional who is not in the spotlight a lot, but you have a lot of social interactions, I think was one of the biggest struggles I ever faced. Having a heartbreak while trying to raise a child and put on a sort of, front was an interesting journey.
I think it's interesting, and we hear this all the time, and you hear it all the time. How do you juggle? How do you do it? How do you do it all? Keisha had mentioned or whatnot. And it's logistics, right? There are some logistical issues with being a single mother. I would like to know, and I kind of want to put out there to get your opinions on. Tamara had mentioned, how can we support our single mothers individually, as business owners, as a community? What are some things that you would like to see out there to help single mothers out there, whether it's in the workforce, whether it's in city government? Are there any initiatives that you think would be helpful in this effort? Not saying that single moms need the help, but I mean, if we get down to logistics, it's really a logistical issue. So let's start with Keisha on that.
For me, I would say, now that I'm a part of this population, the ALICE population is often forgotten. We don't really qualify for the help. but we're not really making enough to really survive. So we're kind of in this little limbo area. So on the political side, I would like to see maybe some expansions to programs to at least help those in the ALICE population, as well as for those parents who are graduating out of the low income areas, have a phasing out type of process. Don't just drop them. You know, if you make $1 more, there goes your food stamps, there goes your, you know, everything is leaving. So now you're like, okay, I made this $1 more, but I can't afford to feed my kids. And so I really would like to see a phase out type of policy in place, as well as something to address the ALICE population.
Well, and Keisha, not to butt in, but you had mentioned a program that was in place. Was it last year, either during the pandemic or before, but at Oasis Women's Center? You mentioned that last night in our conversation.
Yes, I was a part of Oasis. They have a single mom club at Oasis, and they do where you come in everything. Yeah, I loved it. They come in on you come in on Thursdays. It is kind of like Vegas rules. When you go in, what happens in there stays in there. Moms just let everything out. They offer childcare services, and they give us dinner. So it's like kind of one-stop shop. You get dinner, you get to release, a little self-care. Somebody's watching the kids for a little bit, go home, take a bath, and go to bed. So I really enjoyed my time with them. I cannot wait for the pandemic to release us and we can go back, because I will do another session with them again.
Yeah, and I'll say I have the privilege of serving on the Commission for the Status of Women and Girls, and how incredible that our city and county government had the foresight, I think, with Kelly Oddie and many other fantastic women leaders to create this commission where our whole job is just thinking about women and girls and how we can support them and help them. Oasis reminded me of that, programs like that. I've always wanted, there's a program, I think it started in Volusia County. I may butcher the name. I think it's called Community Cafe, but it's where parents, and I think it's mostly single women, that get together and barter their goods. So if you're a lawyer, you might provide legal services, and if I'm a hairdresser, I can do your hair, and we exchange out. And it's kind of in a more organized fashion than I'm talking about. But wouldn't it be cool if we had some kind of thing like that in place? Because we do all have. We were talking last night about our tribe. I think we all have this tribe around us that we support one another. So we really can't do it alone.
No, we can't, and at all. See, one of the things in terms of the workforce, I have been very fortunate to work where I work. I remember breastfeeding, pumping really, in the office, and how it wasn't a big deal at my job, and it was kind of like a joke. Like I would put notes in the door saying, "Milking, don't come in." You know, and so it was funny at my job. You know, I work with Irwin Jackson, and I mean I love him. There's no one I would rather work with that has provided such a great environments for me to be a single mom. You know, the flexibility. I am right here right now sitting at Panera because I can't do this at the office because today's early release. And so early release is at 2. So if I leave the office at 2 when this is over, I'll be 30 minutes late. So I just left the office early to be here so that whenever 2 comes the clock, I'm just 3 miles down the road and I'm not late and I go back to work. So that's kind of how it goes. But flexibility and being, you know, and it's not just for single moms, because there's a lot of mothers out there that don't have the support and that carry all the burden of, you know, if the kids get sick, they're the ones that getting, you know, called it from the school and taking them to the doctors and all that stuff, that take that time off of work. So allow them the opportunity to either, if they can, make up, you know, work from home or whatever the case may be.
I totally agree. I mean, I'm not a mother, but I have an amazing mother who has raised 3 generations of children. And I honestly don't know how she does it. And so thankfully she lives in my city, Tallahassee now, and I'm able to help out in whatever shape or form. Like, you know, after this, I'm going to go pick up my niece from school. So I have a really interesting question. I think that you guys are all going to smile from ear to ear when I ask you this question. Let's hear from the kids' perspective. What do they tell you as a single mother? What do they say to you as a single mother when they are, let's hear from their perspective and how they, I mean, it can be bad or good, but I'd love to hear what they say about you as their mom and, doing everything, being the parent.
You're gonna make me cry, girl.
We'll start with you, Ellie.
Oh heck. All I can hear is my son and my daughter say, you're a superwoman, Mom. You can really do everything. And there was a few years ago, I don't remember if it was Oprah or Michelle Obama, that were on TV and said something. And my youngest daughter, Emma, looked back and said, that's you, Mommy. That's exactly who you are and what you do. And I mean, I got chills just thinking about it right now. They get it. My son yesterday said, if it helps you, we'll say an after school care yesterday, since you have a meeting with Leadership Florida. And I thought they get it. They get to be at an age where they understand the struggle, because they're part of the struggle, right? They're in the routine. They're like, okay, we got to get up, we got to do the to-do list. What do we have to do today? And they too want to make it easier for them. And every child is different also. So navigating through all of that. But yeah, they just, I think you guys have seen on social media recently, I bought a camper. And I've never in my life driven or hauled anything. And I went and got it from Ohio. And then we went on our first trip together. And I'm down 98. And my son looks at me, he's like, you really can do it all, can't you, Mommy? And forget it. That was it for me. So they think we're the moon and the stars and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoever wants to go next after that.
I'll say that. Oh, sorry, Keisha.
No, go ahead, Courtney. You got it.
Well, my kids are in high school now, and it's really been, and people told me, oh, this time will come, and it's finally like they really have gotten, from the time they were younger, they really show a lot of appreciation and understanding, and kind of get how, wow, that must have been hard when we were little, and that kind of thing, especially with financial things and things they couldn't have. And I think they've shown that they've really they have a better understanding of what some of the sacrifices we've had to make to do this or that. So it's been really, I just had a birthday, and so I got some really sweet cards from them to that effect, and it's really true. I had to. It's really hard sometimes to kind of bite my tongue when they were really little about why we couldn't do things, or if we had anyway. But I did bite my tongue for the most part, and I think it's come back to it's a good thing I did. I think they appreciate what I've been able to provide for them, and so how I can support them. So, Carly, I had when Ellie was talking about driving the trailer, I was thinking of you in the bus. Oh my gosh.
Same sentiment. Yes, I feel you, Eli. That's awesome. We should have a parade.
Oh my God. You mentioned something. It's being older. My oldest is 25, and when she just graduated last May, and when she would look at me sometimes and say, how the hell did you do this by yourself, going to college, working, having an internship, having 2 jobs sometimes, and taking care of me? She goes, I can't even keep a full schedule sometimes. So they get it, and it gets to that part where it's like the rewards come in that way.
Keisha, your kids actually run the gamut as far as like age range, so I'm interested in hearing
That's right. I have
what you have to say.
Teen. Yeah, I have toddler to teen, so I literally have the whole, I guess, span right now except adult. But I will say, and I'm going to try not to tear up, I was just recognized nationally by the Childhood Development Association, and I was nominated by my 14-year-old. So when I read the nominations, I cried like a baby. Because like I said, she grew up with me, and to see that she understands. And I think one of the lines that stood out to me was, my mom's a mom to everybody. because sometimes I wonder if my big personality takes away from her, but it doesn't. She knew, and she sees that me being a mom to everybody means the world. I would say the sweet notes. My 10-year-old is a drawer. She just draws me little animals and little things and leaves them around. My son is my cuddler. And the thank yous for me, I think. Just when I do simple things, thank you. Yesterday I just moved. So yesterday I tore my house to pieces looking for track clothes. And every time my daughter called, she said, "Thank you, Mom. I know you're doing it. Thank you, thank you." And just to make you guys laugh, I think the funniest thing for me is they understand me. And my kids will openly say, if Mom doesn't write it down, it's not happening. So they literally walk behind me and they write things down. Like, write that down, or she is not going to do that.
And Carly, last but not least.
Well, I cried at everyone else's statement, so I'm really trying to just keep it together here. But I think we talked about this yesterday again, about how I had this huge weight on my shoulders about how I really messed up and I failed my child, and I didn't give him the family that he deserves. And so, he would say to me, like, "Mom, why are you sad?" Or, "Man, I wish we all lived in the same house." And there were times like that in the beginning, and it really hurt. And, we talked about this yesterday with the ladies, and I said, there's something that I have to remind myself in the back of my head, is that there's a resiliency factor now with Zaid. Like, he comes to work with me, he comes to school with me, he does all of this stuff alongside of me, and he's able to adapt to any situation. So even though I felt like a huge mess up in the beginning, he was there reassuring me. He has that empathy that is so beautiful. And I don't think if I would have stayed in that terrible situation that I was in, I don't know who he'd be, but I do know now that he's amazing, and he, in his own sweet little 8-year-old way, supports me, and we're a team. And I think that's something, like, that big bond that you build is really, really surreal. It's the most beautiful thing, I think, right? So
yeah.
I wanted to share something as we're getting closer to wrapping up for today. Remember, the conversation continues in the comments. Even after we're no longer live, this video will be available. We want you to share it. We want you to keep talking and connecting. But something that I've read and I saved on social media, on Instagram the other day, on the Every Mom account, at the Every Mom, just giving them a free shout out, is that it says, "We expect women to work like they don't have children and raise children as if they don't work. Shout out to all the working moms who feel like they're being measured by impossible standards. We see you." And I think that today, as we talk about single motherhood and we went into just motherhood in general, and a lot of times you'll hear Barbara, who we're thinking about today. Barbara, we miss you today. But we'll hear her say, just being a woman and trying to navigate this world, it can be difficult. But that's what we want to do here. We see you and understand that the standards are impossible. The standards set in front of us, you can work as hard as you can and try to move around this earth in absolute perfection. And there's always going to be something that you think you could have done better. You could have made that decision more quickly. If you would have changed the decision, it would have changed your entire life's outcome. And really, just understand that you're enough. You're enough. Everybody watching today, I want you to tell somebody that maybe hasn't heard it in a while. You're enough, and we see you. And if you are just joining us now, make sure you go back and watch this from the beginning, because you will walk away feeling like a superhero. We know you're not. We know that you are all women who need support, and that's what Women Wednesdays is all about. Make sure you're supporting each other, because superheroes have to put those capes down sometimes, don't we?
Yes, ma'am.
We got to put them down.
That's beautiful.
And I want to mention that Ellie, she's coming back in. I see she's having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we certainly are grateful for Ellie joining us as our guest host today. So if she comes back in, I'll bring her back up. But thank you so much for all the comments that you guys have and the affirmations, and all the moms out there. We love you. You're amazing. And so this conversation was much needed today.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to go ahead and a little bit ahead of schedule here. We want to look at April 14th, which is Rejuvenate Your Workforce, hiring people with disabilities. So that's going to be a great upcoming Women Wednesdays as well. And then also we'll have on April 21st, Baby Steps, and that's stepping into change, adversity, fears, and challenges. Some great speakers coming up, so make sure you join us as well. And I know Carly hopped off as well too, but Carly, Courtney, Keisha, and Ellie, certainly appreciate you joining Tamara and I today for Women Wednesdays. Is there anything else you would like to add to kind of just give some words of encouragement out there, or kind of put a stamp on today's conversation?
I just want to say thank you all for having this conversation. I think it's bold and overdue, and I hope that we can continue it on this show again another time, and also out in the community. I know Keisha and I are going to keep being out there, starting those conversations with others. But so thank you, and Women Wednesdays, and Barbara for supporting this topic.
And I would just say to all moms, we love you. We see you. Keep going.
Okay, I think that does it for today. Lots of people joining in. Lanisha, she says, thank you so much. And we've got Ellie back, so let's hopefully. Hey, Ellie, we're wrapping up here. Is there anything else you wanted to kind of just say to moms out there that are watching, or any words of encouragement, or just kind of putting a stamp on today's conversation?
I'm going to find your tribe, find the people that will help you and support you and lift you during these difficult times. And whether it be like she was saying, food or transportation or whatever, and also take care of yourself, because there's no way that you're going to be able to take care of your kids if you do not take care of yourself. Panera's already done with me. I've been here an hour. They're like, no, you're not.
Hey, they're getting free advertisement for being on Women Wednesdays.
Oh my goodness, that is too funny.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you for